Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Stephen Harrell, founder and CEO of Tiny House Listings. Tiny House Listings is the largest tiny house resource in the world. I started Tiny House Listings about 10 years ago, and since then we've helped thousands and thousands of people live tiny and worked with most tiny house building companies across the world. After having worked with so many people directly over the years, one of the most common issues that I see people running into who are interested in living in a tiny house or living the tiny house lifestyle is that they simply just don't know where to begin. And I can understand that. There's a lot of differences between purchasing a tiny house and living in a regular house. For example, a regular tiny house, the first thing you do more than likely is work with a real estate agent, right? Or you go on Zillow and just start searching houses because you know a specific area, things like that. But of course a tiny house doesn't work that way, especially if you're planning on living in one that is on wheels. There's all kinds of questions people have. How do I hook up power to my tiny house? What about water? Where does the water go when I flush it? Do I need a flush toilet? All those things. But the most important thing, I think, when you're first starting to live in a tiny house is actually deciding that you're going to take this route no matter what. Because what I find out so many people do is they see the tiny houses, they see the videos on YouTube, they see the beautiful photos on Instagram, and they're like, this is for me, right? And they make a couple phone calls, they swap a few emails, ask some friends who've done whatever, and they realize that it's not going to be quite as easy, or maybe it doesn't seem like it's going to be as easy as just plopping down a deposit and paying for a house for 30 years. And the truth is, it might not be as easy, but the reward on the other side of having made that decision is well worth it. It's an excellent return on your investment of time. So the first thing is making sure that if you've decided this is right for you, if you hit a couple hiccups, you're not going to stop, right? You're going to make sure you push through. So once you do that, you've bought into the idea that you're going to live in a tiny house, you know for sure that this is right for you and you're going to make it happen, right? Because another thing I hear very often is people say, I wish I could do this, but my area doesn't allow tiny houses or something like that, right? Those are the people who I'm talking about, the ones who hit a couple roadblocks and simply gave up. But once you decide, you say, hey, tiny house living is for me, and you've decided no matter what, you're going to push through this and you're going to go with that lifestyle. The next two main obstacles for most people, and it's not always by any means, are finding a place to park it and financing. Now, don't get me wrong, we work with people every day who maybe just sold their house, who have been saving for a while, that have the cash to pay tiny house, and they're diligent shoppers and they're looking for the tiny house that's right for them. There's lots of those type of people out there, maybe that's you. But on the other hand, there's probably, for sure, many more people who don't have the cash, who need financing for a tiny house. We work with quite a few lenders across the country that specialize in tiny houses, tiny house lending. But more times than not, maybe 8 or 9 times out of 10, most people are going to go with financing in the form of a personal loan. And if you don't know what a personal loan is, it's a loan that's backed by nothing other than your good credit, your employment history, and that banks or lenders say, hey, this person is a very low risk for defaulting on this loan. More than likely, they're going to pay this loan off. And that's a whole nother video. We could get into personal loans or tiny house financing, but that's one of the main obstacles people run into. So if you work with us, we literally walk you from beginning to end, and we'll get into that in just a second. But yeah, so the answer is you can definitely get tiny house financing, and it's not a matter of finding a builder who offers financing. It's a matter of finding the right loan, and more than likely it's a personal loan. And real quick, personal loans are simply where they give you money. It doesn't matter what it's for. If you wanted to go to Vegas and blow it over the weekend, you could. They just say that you're worthy of this amount of money, and here's what you get, and you can do whatever you want, and hopefully you're smart and you go buy a tiny house with it. The next thing is finding a place to park your tiny house. If you click right here, I did a video a while back on 8 places that you can park a tiny house. And this is another example. We work with lots of people who already have land. Their family owns a farm, they own a ranch, they have a beautiful place in someone's backyard already picked out, whatever. A lot of people already have parking for a tiny house, but a lot of people don't. So if you click on the video right there, that'll give you ideas on 8 places that you can think of to park a tiny house. We have the world's most extensive, I would say, is the most extensive database of places that actually allow tiny houses to be parked there, like in terms of RVs or whatnot. here at our headquarters, the people that work for Tiny House Listings make phone calls all day long. So we've pretty much called all the RV parks, all the places you can imagine. So we know exactly who allows tiny houses and who doesn't. You can say I live in XYZ city, and so we'll find out who allows tiny houses in your area, and we'll move you in that direction. So yeah, the main three things, and there's other variables too, but I would say based on the thousands of people that I've worked with over the years is deciding that you're going to move into a tiny house, you're going to push through, you're going to make it happen because you're convinced that this type of lifestyle is right for you. The second is financing, right? And if you're one of the lucky people who doesn't need financing, then that's just one less hurdle you have to jump through. And then parking, right? So if you go to thlist.co/5-minute, you can schedule a 5-minute tiny house consultation with us. And in that 5 minutes, we can just find out really quickly where you're at in your tiny house journey and give recommendations. We can give you some recommendations and work to get you from where you are all the way through to where you're living in a tiny house. And this is what we do with people literally every single day. So that's it. That's how you get started with your tiny house journey, how we can work with you. And our goal is to absolutely help more and more people and create solutions to help people live the tiny house lifestyle. So thanks for watching this video. See you on the next one. This is my little dog Piper. He loves tiny houses too. Mwah.